Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rifardy Fikri Azizi. I come from UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. In this occasion, I will present our research on MSMEs. The title of this research is Factors that Influence of MSMEs Performance based on the dimension of entrepreneurial orientation in Yogyakarta. Introduction. The background of this research: MSMEs are the highest economic backers in Indonesia. Based on the MSMEs data, the performance of MSMEs must be considered to grow larger. The majority of MSMEs are family-owned, so MSMEs can also be referred to as family firms. Based on previous research, the majority of researchers use a one-dimensional approach or use three dimensions of EO. They are risk-taking, innovativeness, and proactiveness. However, in this research using five dimensions of EO, they are risk-taking, innovativeness, proactiveness, competitive aggressiveness, and autonomy. In addition, previous research used moderating variables that were closely related to family firms. So, this study adds the self-efficacy factor as a moderator describing the condition in various types of organization. Self-efficacy can improve performance in both family and non-family firms. Theoretical and hypothesized development. Theoretical basis. Number 1. RBV or resource-based view. RBV emphasizes that strategic resources can increase the competitive advantage of a firm. Strategic resources should be able to make a profit or avoid losses with their abilities. Thus, the resources are not only related to assets, but also their capabilities. Number 2. BAM or behavioral agency model. BAM emphasizes that firms owner will avoid the risk when SAW levels are high and will look for risks when SAW levels are low. And the last, SCT or social cognitive theory. SCT emphasizes that you can know what you have to do and act according to the knowledge you have. In this hypothesized development based on the research framework, H1A to H5A is positive. The five dimensions of EO have positive effect to MSM's performance. Then H1B to H5B. SAW can moderate the relationship between the five dimensions of EO and MSM's performance. And H1C to H5C, self-efficacy can moderate the relationship between the five dimensions of EO and MSM's performance. Research methodology. This study uses a quantitative approach with a questionnaire instrument. The sample was determined by Slovene formula with a total population of MSMEs in 2019, so the sample needed at least 400 respondents. The dependent variable the study used performance measures developed by Zhou et al. 1998 with 6 variable indicators. The independent variable or the 5 dimensions of EO were measured using Hughes and Morgan indicators 2007 with 18 variable indicators. The first moderating variable or SEW in this study used for indicators of stratus and fiber scale. The second moderating variable is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy were measured using 19 variables indicator by McGee et al. 2009. This study used the PLSSEM method with the SMART PLS3. PLSSEM consists of two testing steps, namely outer model and inner model testing. In the outer model consists of three measurements, namely indicator reliability, construct reliability and validity, and discriminant validity. In the inner model consists of two measurements, namely path coefficient and R-square. Result and discussion. The object of this research consists of MSMEs located in the special region of Yogyakarta in 2021. The data collection period is from March 21 to May 3, 2021, with 416 respondents. First, in the outer model, the total of all valid and reliable indicators is 22 indicators, while the rest must be eliminated. Furthermore, testing the construct reliability and validity will display the values of Cronbach alpha, rho A, composite reliability, and average variance extracted. The composite reliability value of all talent variables is more than 0.7. Meanwhile, the average variance extracted or AVE value is also more than 0.5. Thus, the outer loading value of its indicator variable is valid. After that, discriminant validity will display the value of cross-loading and further larger. The value of cross-loading on latent variables must be greater than other latent variables. While the larger value is the root value of the AVE value, the larger value must be greater than the correlation value between latent variables. The next measurement is inner model. From the result of path coefficient test, the competitive aggressiveness variable has a significant effect on the performance of MSMEs. As a moderating variable, SEW and self-advocacy significantly affect the performance of MSMEs. SEW as a moderator has a significant influence on the relationship between proactiveness and MSMEs performance. Meanwhile, self-efficacy significantly affects the relationship between proactiveness, competitive aggressiveness, autonomy, and the performance of MSMEs. The last measurement is R-square test. From the result of R-square test, the value of R-square for the MSMEs performance is 0.438, meaning that the independent variable can explain the dependent variable by 43.8%, and also the remaining 56.2% means that other variables can describe this dependent variable. Discussion. Number 1. Stacking has a positive effect on MSMEs performance. This hypothesis rejected. Most of MSMEs are reluctant to take risks but prefer to avoid the risk. In precarious conditions such as the COVID-19 pandemic, MSMEs also prefer to avoid risk. This hypothesis is not compatible with RBV because risk-taking cannot be maximized. Risk-taking must be maximized with careful calculation. Number 2. Innovativeness has a positive effect on MSMEs performance. This hypothesis rejected. Based on RBV, innovativeness is an advantage that can be applied to achieve business goals. However, the data shows that innovativeness doesn't positively affect the MSME's performance. Innovation is essential in entrepreneurship. Innovation must be done continuously. Number 3. Proactiveness has a positive effect on MSME's performance. This hypothesis rejected. Not following RBV, even though proactive is needed to survive and compete with competitors. If they are not aggressive, MSMs can lag behind their competitors. Number 4. Competitive aggressiveness has a positive effect on MSMEs performance. This hypothesis accepted. Aggressive competition can make MSMEs take advantage of opportunities faster. This hypothesis conforms to RBV. MSMEs can survive and compete for a long time. Number 5. Autonomy has a positive effect on MSMEs performance. This hypothesis rejected. Not compatible with RBV. Most of MSMEs do not yet have employees, but the most important asset is employees. So cooperation with employees is the best thing. Number 6. SEW can moderate the relationship with risk-taking and MSM's performance. This hypothesis rejected. According to BAM, risk-taking cannot be maximized if employers put family interests first. These results are in line with BAM, where the higher the SEW rate, the lower the firm is in taking risks. The role of the family is not good thing because the family choose to avoid risk. Number 7. SEW can moderate the relationship between innovativeness and MSME's performance. This hypothesis rejected. Although the findings of this study are not significant, but based on previous research, SEW has a less good influence on the innovativeness and MSME's performance. The average value of the SEW variable indicator is indeed high, but it cannot moderate the relationship between innovativeness and the performance of MSMEs. Number 8. SEW can moderate the relationship between proactiveness and MSMEs performance. This hypothesis accepted. These results indicate that SEW doesn't affect the level of proactiveness in improving the firm's performance. Based on these findings, if the level of attention to SEW is high, then proactiveness can be maximized so that the firm's performance increases. This result is not following BAM, where employers who pay attention to SEW do not impact the performance of MSMEs. Number 9. SAW can moderate the relationship between competitive aggressiveness and MSMEs performance. This hypothesis rejected. SAW doesn't reduce or increase the level of aggressiveness in competing. Family doesn't affect the level of aggressiveness of MSMEs. Number 10. SEW can moderate the relationship between autonomy and MSMEs performance. SEW doesn't reduce or increase the effect of autonomy, although this findings is not supported. This result is accordant with BAM because SEW cannot increase the influence of autonomy on MSMEs performance. Next, number 11. Self-advocacy can moderate the relationship between risk-taking and MSMEs performance. Rejected. Self-advocacy cannot increase the effect of risk-taking, not compatible with SVT. So, risky things need to be considered carefully and supported with high confidence so that they can have a positive impact on MSMEs. Number 12. Self-advocacy can moderate the relationship between innovativeness and MSMEs performance. Also rejected. Self-advocacy also cannot encourage and decrease the level of MSMEs innovation. Based on HGT, these findings should show evidence that business owners who have high self-advocacy can encourage innovativeness in improving the MSME's performance. However, the findings of this study do not correspond to HGT. Number 13. Self-advocacy can moderate the relationship between proactiveness and MSME's performance. This hypothesis accepted. When the level of self-advocacy of business owners is high, the positive relationship between proactiveness and the MSME's performance will decrease. Based on SCT, the findings shows that self-advocacy can encourage the relationship between proactiveness and MSME's performance, but in negative direction. Even self-advocacy can inhibit proactiveness so that the MSMEs become decreased. Number 14. Self-advocacy can moderate the relationship between competitive aggressiveness and MSMEs performance. Accepted. Self-advocacy strengthens the level of aggressiveness of MSMEs in competing. According to ICT, the self-confidence that is put to good use can provide advantage for MSMEs. The positive influence of competitive aggressiveness on MSMEs performance will be more powerful when business owners have high self-advocacy. And last, self-advocacy can moderate the relationship between autonomy and MSMEs performance. Self-advocacy increases the effect of autonomy. According to ICT, the confidence given to employees will form solid teamwork, but self-advocacy must be managed properly because autonomy doesn't have a positive effect on the performance of MSMEs. Conclusion and suggestion. Conclusion. It can be concluded that from the 5 dimensions of EO, only competitive aggressiveness positively affects the MSME's performance. As a moderating variable, SEW only moderates the relationship between proactiveness and MSME's performance positively. Meanwhile, self-advocacy moderates the relationship between proactiveness, competitive aggressiveness, autonomy, and MSME's performance. Self-advocacy moderates competitive aggressiveness and autonomy positively, and proactiveness negatively. Suggestion. Through the MSMEs cooperative office or other related parties, the government is advised to give direction to MSMEs to maximize the 5 dimensions of EO. Related parties can equip MSMEs with science in entrepreneurship. Number 2. Further research can develop this research by adding other moderating variables. Further research can also combine quantitative and qualitative approaches to get results close to the actual situation. And last, the study involved respondent and research person domiciled in the special region of Yogyakarta. Respondent and research person may have personality characteristics that differ from other regions. This can be due to the culture of the community, so this research can be developed with different objects and regions. I think that's all. I'm sorry if there are so many mistakes in my presentation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.